Hey, what's up? Luke Haas coming to you. Been a very strange year so far for me. I got to meet somebody who I really connect with, be with that person, and then have to get taken away from that person. It's been tough. I'm not sure what topic I wanted to hit on this, but my life's really been a challenge with transitioning from homelessness to having somewhat of a place to be, to switching up and having to relocate in order to be with somebody that I truly love, and not being able to be around that person because of life choices I have made due to the way I was living, due to the way this world has become. The inflation is outrageous, and I don't have a lot of skills outside of my job. I do have skills, I just don't know where to go, who needs what I have to offer. It's very confusing, frustrating, and somewhat depressing at some points. This is a time I can take to save up money, to keep working on myself, to be the person I need to be, to not be so hard on myself when I make mistakes, to continue to try to feed my spirit with goodness rather than hatred and negativity. Me and the person I really love and adore, we have a shielding prayer that we say every morning, whether we're near or far. We always make it a point to do a certain prayer to help us be shielded from energies that don't resonate with us. And it's truly amazing. It does kind of set the tone for the day. It helps me be in a more positive mode, even though my life right now seems really disorganized and kind of all over the place. One thing I will say for sure, if you like smoking weed, do not live in Utah, because you will get caught up so quick with all the technicality laws they have about it, even if you do have a med card. Watch your butt. If you use your meds and you're out and about. With me, I use my meds. I used to abuse my meds, and I would just go wherever I wanted, no matter what condition I was in, and not care about it. And later, rather than sooner, things caught up living in this state, and how all the little, you can do this, but you can only do it like this. There's a lot of things like little laws like that in Utah. It's really a trip. I invested in some things that I thought would help me get ahead with the trials I'm facing, and I come to find out it was just a huge waste of energy. Like I didn't need it. I was trying to safeguard the ability to be able to get around on my own in my own car, after some things happened, and I got in I was in recovery. I was in a 12-step program for about 10 years, and wasn't drinking, wasn't smoking weed, wasn't doing anything, I just stayed clean the whole time. And it became a real apparent how much stuff I was trying to block through the use of drugs, and how much stuff it allowed me to stuff down. So in the process of being in this 12-step program, I went through the 12 steps 10 times. And every time it was like peeling off a layer to see who I truly was. And then I got divorced from someone who I put a lot of energy into. And I put so much energy into a relationship that just wasn't equal. It was more give rather than receive. And once everything was said and done and I got divorced, I got a huge case of what I like to call the fuckets. And I started using weed again. And that seemed to help a lot with my mental outlook on things. It kind of lessened whatever burdens I was carrying. And then eventually, due to the way I chose to live, it all caught up. And now I'm here, stuck in a place for at least the next 30 days where I really can't leave unless it's an emergency, and I can't be with the people I want to be. I'm pretty much by myself, and it's really hard because I don't really think I'm that bad of a person. I don't usually have a mentality of, trying to pull one over for some kind of a gain. I've never been like that. But yet I've been with a lot of people who are like that. And I'm not actually sure the reason why, but I think a lot of times with certain people, they'll act like a negative person or be this or be that. In all reality, I always see like the sweeter side of people, and I encourage those people to see that for themselves and to dive deep to be able to see their true self and to be their true self. There's a lot of people that grow up in negative households. Their childhood wasn't good, and then it extends on into their adult life to where they're still making really bad decisions, And me, I live in my car and lived in my car on and off for, the last 3 or 4 years, and the struggle is always real, and it's what I make it. How can I come out on top? But everybody's come out on top looks different, Could be that homeless person that doesn't got a care in the world and doesn't have a lot, who could be the most happiest person on that block, So success and happiness looks different to everybody. And I come to the conclusion that paying for a place, constantly working to have like a safe haven, I wanted to go the opposite direction because I've never traveled a lot on my own as an adult. So I felt like it would be a fun experience to do that. And it was for the most part, but then comes a point in your life where you're just like, okay, I'm tired and my car no longer is comfortable to me, but I don't have a lot of options. What do I do? I want to be comfortable again. And unfortunately, I managed to get a few misdemeanors in the last, 6 months or so. It was almost like I was protected to be able to live the lifestyle I was living for a while, and then somebody left my energy circle, and all of a sudden it wasn't okay anymore. And I don't want to say that I was cursed, but I feel like there was a safety net with this other person that I was being around that also protected me, and when that person disappeared, the protection disappeared. I didn't protect myself. To some people it's a big deal to drive stoned. But the pure and simple fact is that people are able to drive under the influence of weed easily. There's a lot of us that are used to it, and that's how we do stuff, But you get in a place where they got so many stipulations and rules that all comes to a head. I've had to dish out a lot of money lately just to stay out of jail because of the way I chose to live and my vices I was using in order to be able to get through it with a level head and not go crazy. So I got out of the 12-step program when I started using again because I was always told, you're welcome to a meeting if you have the desire to quit using. That's all you need is a desire. And I had no desire to quit. I don't really have the desire to quit now, but I've been made to, take a bigger look at things a little closer. Because, sometimes in life you just have to recalibrate your way of thinking in order to get through it. And weed is something I use to help do that. Just to make things a little more bearable, if you will. And at the same token, being in the state I'm in, the state of Utah, doing that's against the law pretty much. So I worked really hard to try to stick around and be there for my counterpart. And sometimes it feels like it's not noticed or appreciated. And that's kind of sad to me. But at the same token, I know what my counterpart's going through. She's going through way bigger things than me. She's actually having to revamp who she is. And I like to stick around and watch the progression. And if anything, if the only thing I fear is losing the relationship and not being able to see the progression, because even though life's shit right now and everybody's kind of struggling with their own demons as usual, there's good in it somewhere. There's good somewhere in it. There's a silver lining that we tend to overlook. Being an addict like I am, there is a lot of, when you don't get that instant gratification, I kind of thrown that in the back seat for a while and tried to throw my expectations of others away. I still hold fairly high expectations for myself, not ones that are too unrealistic. And that's the thing with expectations. They can instantly, create resentment right off the bat, especially if you have expectations of others and they're unrealistic. For me, it's about putting myself in another person's shoes who has been through a certain situation, that has had to go through certain emotions, because realistically, in my mind, I think we have like maybe 5 or 6 emotions that we go through on a daily basis, depending on how our day is. And so what I usually like to do before passing judgment, because I am no saint myself, I like to try to acknowledge the emotions that were gone through during the situations in order to better relate with people, to better understand why people are the way they are. And I learn a lot through that. I really do, when I can be in that mindset of having that empathy for another person and realizing their true nature of why they cause themselves so many problems. In all reality, I like to hear those words, "You were here when nobody was." That's very special to me, to be able to stick around for people, to be able to wait things out and move through things, no matter how depressing they seem, and to get through it with a good attitude. I think that's the hardest part of it all. Having a good attitude when things are indifferent. And that's when it comes back to daily maintenance, writing in a gratitude book. The prayer me and my counterpart do every morning to help us try to be on the up and up, even though we know we can't be around each other right now, due to decisions I made thinking it was okay and really not even having a clue. And I try not to get down on myself about it, because I am human. I'm by any means not perfect. A lot of things I do represent imperfections of humans, because in my mind, I'm not going to be perfect till I'm buried, and the veil's pulled up and I am revealed more about myself and more about life. And I don't think I get to see that until death to the next level. And I'm okay with that. I don't need all the answers right now. I don't need to be in the know. All I need to be is in the now. I find that when I try to figure everything out and get all the right answers, I tend to lose. It takes away something from me, something very special. And I think it keeps me from living in the now when I want to know too much or figure out things, because things just don't come overnight. And I have to have respect for that. And I have to just put one foot in front of the other every day, even though I'm nowhere near where I want to be or where I think I should be. But I think the universe puts me exactly where I need to be in order to look at the big picture that I live in and see what the next step is. Which direction do I need to go? It's huge, and sometimes it really sucks. I mean, it just really, I get lonely, I get upset, I get emotional, and it's all because I don't have what I truly desire. And that's love and peace with another person, who until we can help other people find that love and peace too, as a unity, as a group. Because I think we have a lot of great experiences and a lot of woe moments that sometimes get looked past if we were dead to our spirit or our senses. There's a lot of things that can get looked over and not have meaning. Today, life has meaning. Things that I see and things that I comprehend, there's a meaning to them all, and it helps guide me to being that person I'm supposed to be, I feel. It's a painful process. It's what you make it. And sometimes it can be really hard to make orange juice out of an orange. It takes work. It takes dedication. And it takes the unfearing love and passion for life in order to move through it. I have that passion today. It's very hard. It's really hard sometimes just to try to get rid of that fear, especially when you know something is meant to be, but then you look at it and you see all this work that is entailed into it. And I think myself, that's when I know it's worth it, when there's a lot of work to be done. And, you know, it's been said by many a great people, it's all about the journey, not about the destination. The journey is what creates our personalities. And, you know, I'm a worker, I'm a doer person. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And, or unless it's out of my reach where I can't. I basically, if I know I can't do something, I'm not going to tell you I can do it type person. That's, you know, but if I can, and I have the energy and, you know, all that to pull through with something, integrity goes a long way, I feel like. You know, even though I've come into some troubles, my probation officer sees that my old PO, he saw that I was trying my best because I was showing up to all my court dates, I was paying my fines, and I'm still doing all that. It's just gotten to a point where, like, people aren't doing their job. It's like people within the law enforcement and the probation offices, they do what they can to keep you out. That's what I've seen this time around with having to deal with these people. They're more willing to help you out than they are to throw you in jail. Because if they weren't, I'd already be sitting in jail. And luckily, because of the steps I've made to pay back my debt to breaking the law here in Utah, it's paid off to a degree. I'm not in jail. I am confined to a certain area, but it's not jail, at least. Get to wear my own clothes. Don't have to eat jail food. That's always a plus. And I really have to keep it simple like that. Look at the simple things that, you know, could be happening versus what is happening. Even though I love my girl to death, and I would, God, if I didn't think it would put me back in jail to go up and visit her right now, I would. And I would love on her like she deserves to be loved. That's probably the hardest thing about all this, is being away from her, because we're both Capricorns. We're both born on eves of spectacular times. And although we might not like the same things or think the same way, when it comes down to it, we're connected irregardless. There's a huge connection that cannot be broken, and that's so amazing. It's just really hard when you find that person and you can't fix them, and you can't be with them, you can't comfort them. I mean, I do my best with the powers that be through Reiki. I can do a lot of energy work, but when you're starting to really like the person you're with, and you just want to be with them all the time, it's really hard. It's really life-changing. It makes you think differently about things. And it's really hard when you have an authority saying you can't go visit your girlfriend or your friend because they have guns in the house, or they got a big dog. I don't know. It's just so crazy. Being in the system again this time around after 25 years things have changed a lot. And I think it's been a good change. Because like I said, I could be worse off than what I am now. At least I have a car I can sleep in. I have shelter, I have warmth. I don't have a lot of food or anything like that. I just kind of go day by day when it comes to that. And I can still get out and see the sun and feel the air. It's about chopping up to this. I have to really chop it up to the simple things. Cool breeze in my hair, even though I don't have a lot of hair. I just wanted to post because I felt like I get stuck in myself like the majority of us do. And I have all kinds of ways I can work through it. And do energy work to make things better, to make things more bearable. And I've been practicing it somewhat, not as much as I should, because I'm on day 1 out of 30 to 32 days of ankle monitor at my work, and just trying to get through a month of work and saving up money so I can get a place. Because being on probation, it's not everybody's cool with you living at your work. But when you get in the system and they want your money, the money is a really good incentive to help the authorities decide whether you should be in jail or not. If they know they're going to get their money, they'll probably keep you out. Because at the end of the day, that's all it's about, is that damn money. Something I don't have a lot of, something I work my ass off for in order to appease the powers that be with my certain circumstances at this point. And trying to be okay with it all is the hardest part of it. trying to accept it and not get angry and at myself or at the authorities, because at the end of the day, they're just doing their job, and I get that totally, but I just wish sometimes people could look past certain situations and just not bother me about it, Had I been putting people in jeopardy, that's called for to be messed with, But since I wasn't, I was getting pulled over for dumb things that just at the end of the day really don't matter. I just gotta learn to be okay with it and move through it and find the modalities and the things that are gonna help me move through it in a more peaceful fashion, a more higher frequency fashion, even though every day's a new day and you don't know what's in store, and I don't know when I get to see my counterpart again. It's really sad to some extent, but I think this is a huge test for us to be able to have a story that we can share with people that might go through the same thing or are going through the same thing. How did we get through these things? And how did we live in the now regardless of how bad the now really looks to us? So there'll be more on that. I think a lot of what you'll see coming from me will be about the daily maintenance, the daily struggles, and how we maintain those struggles and still live in the now and not allow our past self or life to control ourselves we are now and our life we live now. And since I'm under confinement, I'll probably be doing more videos as ideas or intuition kicks in and gives me things to discuss and put out there just as a discussion base. If anybody out there that does end up seeing this, I know I'm not in a huge algorithm at this point, but anybody who does see this who has a certain topic or issue that they'd like to talk about, be sure to leave a comment. Don't forget to like the videos. And don't forget to be kind to yourself. Namaste. Because my weirdness in me admires the weirdness in you. So mote it be. Good night.